Hey, what's going on? This is your homie DJ Rico Banks. Today on the episode of Underground Reggie, we speak with Omar Mora about his comic book, The Unearthlings. We also speak to him about his love from films, and we talk about some of the films that he like, including Avengers Endgame, Forrest Gump, and more, man. You guys make sure y'all tune in and y'all listen to today's episode of Underground Reggie. What's going on? How you doing? This is your homie DJ Rico Banks, and I'm here for another episode of Underground Reggie. Today we have our guest Omar Mora with us. Omar, say hello to the people.
How you doing, guys? Hello.
So Omar, man, you have a new comic book that you're working on titled The Unearthlings. Can you explain to our audience a little bit about it?
Yes, The Unearthlings is basically two best friends that get abducted by aliens. And the aliens didn't know that they have this secret of their own that they're going to use to their advantage. So basically, it's a little fight on the underground base. Our friends Mateo and Carter, they uncovered the dark agenda the aliens has for Earth and the entire galaxy. So they're trying to save the day.
Okay, so with the characters of Mateo and Carter, how did you develop those?
So basically, I've been developing the script and the characters for the last 2 years. Mateo is a Latino, funky one, a little bit free will. He likes to have fun. Carter is more uptight, following the rules. And they know each other since kids. I don't want to tell too much because you guys gonna discover the surprise for the end of the issue number 1, but I basically developed these characters based on their actually persona and the contrast between them and how the friendship developed since they were kids in an orphanage all the way into adulthood.
Okay, so what made you want to develop a story based around friends?
You know what? I always wanted to develop this story for a long time ago. I'm a filmmaker and I'm a script writer. So I always wanted to tell stories through the medium of film and comic books because it's a visual medium as well, but they're different. So I have this story on my mind about these characters that eventually they're going to join a group, kind of a Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy, but mix it with a little bit of supernatural thriller and few genre that I'm always interested in, including aliens. So, not saying too much because not to, spoil the surprises, but it's mostly the mix of the genre that I'm mixing here: supernatural, aliens, thriller, action, and superhero-ish.
Okay, so with the actual genre of supernatural, with the aliens, would you say that you've always been a fan of sci-fi novels?
Oh, yes. I love sci-fi, films, animation, everything that is sci-fi, I love.
Okay.
Since I'm a kid.
Okay, so to give our audience members a little bit of background about you, can you explain to them how you got your start into actually writing?
Yeah, I basically had the idea of the story in my mind for the longest time. And you want me to, like, how I developed the story itself, or how can I come with the idea? That was the question?
No, I was actually asking you a question. What made you want to pursue a career about being a writer?
Oh, I just love storytelling. I think storytelling is one of the arts that can change a lot of people's minds, can inspire, can teach. And just telling stories is one of the things that I always wanted to do since a kid. And since New York to LA, I moved. I decided to start writing and prepare myself. I think it's mostly the drive of tell stories.
Okay. What made you get into comic books?
Comic books, I enjoy them since I'm a kid. It's a beautiful, awesome medium that you have the images there, and then you run your imagination based on the images that you see. In contrast with film, that they give you everything: sound effect, visual effects. I think comedy is a medium that you can tell a story. It's still a visual medium, but you put a lot of your imagination, and that thing I always loved it, and I always wanted to start writing comics.
Okay, so do you like? Well, the question I'm gonna ask you, do you like actual comic books more, or do you like comic strips more?
Comic books versus what?
Comic strips. Basically, what I'm asking is, do you like the actual short form or comics as much as you like the long form?
I like both. I love the long forms. I love the issues when they have long series and you can go through the story, and every month you go and buy that issue. But I like also like short form of just one issue story or 6 issue stories or some, a full paperback. I just love the whole medium of comic books.
Okay, so with Unearthlings, would this be a story that fans and audience members can be looking forward to for a long time?
Yeah, the Unearthians, right now we finished a 12 issues series, so it's going to be a monthly basis series, so it's going to be until next year. Mm-hmm. And I already developing what's going to happen after the 12 issues and just keep up to 24 issues eventually after. But it'll depend on the first 12 issues. It's a medium that still is a little bit expensive, hiring artists and pencilers and colorists. Let's see how the first 12 issues do, and then we go from there.
Okay. So earlier in our interview, you spoke about being a screenwriter. What made you want to pursue actually writing screens and scripts?
You know what? It comes from the base, from the same thing, just tell stories. And again, the medium of film is another medium that I loved, and I love to tell those stories and see them on the big screen or the small screen.
Okay. What would be some of your favorite films?
My favorite film of all time, I know maybe you'll laugh, but I love Forrest Gump.
Really?
I love that film, but I love Superman from the 80s, the new Avengers movie. Oh my God, I think that's my favorite superhero movie, Endgame. I love the old horror, Freddy Krueger and Jason and Halloween, all those old classic from the 80s. Sci-fi, I mean, if you're going to start from E.T. and all Steven Spielberg film, I just love all of those films, but I think my favorites would be sci-fi. I think Endgame, this one, I'm blown away, especially the last 15 minutes of it.
Okay, what were some of the things that blew you away about Endgame?
The last 15, I don't know, well, probably everybody knows about it, but the last 15 minutes when, can I spoil it, or?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people know the ending at this point.
When Captain America take the hammer, I think that's one of the highlights of all the 10 years. That was an amazing part of the film. And then when everybody come, after Doctor Strange opened the portals and they come from the soul dimension, whatever they were, I think that was amazing. The whole fight scene, I mean, that was awesome too. Seeing Thor, like in the past, asking for Mjolnir, I think that was awesome. I mean, that movie is amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a great completion of all the movies of the past.
Pretty epic, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they really actually brought everything full circle. And for our audience members that didn't really get the part that you were talking about with the hammer, no one was supposed to be able to actually pick up the hammer and hold the hammer. But then Iron Man actually grabbed the hammer.
Yeah, that was awesome, actually.
Yeah, man. So that's definitely a good part. I actually want to unpack some other things. I want to ask you about two things. You said that one of your favorite films were the Superman films of the 80s. What were some of the things that actually drew you to that film? Because Christopher Reeves was kind of amazing in that film. That's one of my favorite Supermans too.
Yeah, I think it's come of the age when you're a kid and you see for the first time a man flying, and they actually make it that looks like fly by the technology back then. I think that was amazing. His charisma as Superman. Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. So I've been reading comics before the movie, and it's just the whole way he portrayed the character, plus see him doing his thing at the time as a kid, it just blows your mind.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. Man, he actually made the character of Superman out to be a believable person.
Yeah, totally, and relatable, because this is what I love about Superman, even that he has all these superpowers, that I love superheroes with superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
This persona of trying to do the right thing and being honest and being down to earth is relatable, you know. I mean, you don't need to have the biggest problem in the world to relate to somebody, you know, because they don't have, or they have superpowers. So I did relate a lot with him.
Yeah,
but I don't have any of those powers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man, because he definitely had a moral code, and he made sure that he stuck by that. No matter what happened, he never compromised himself or compromised his integrity.
Totally agree.
So
Yes.
one other thing I wanted to ask you about was Forrest Gump, man. What draws you to Forrest Gump as a film?
Forrest Gump for me is like everything is what we call subtext. Everything is so metaphorical, based on actual events that happen, historical events. Seeing it through the eyes of Forrest, and he was a character that was so honest and so vulnerable, but at the same time so strong that he was able to accomplish all these amazing things in his vulnerability and in his naive, if you want to call it like that. And I just love the whole metaphor of the whole movie. It's just beautiful. Every phrase on that movie just get me.
Man,
it's just symbolic.
Man, I definitely agree with you on that, man. Forrest Gump is one of the great movies of all time.
It's all, I mean, even the thing that they said about the chocolate, the box of chocolate, all these little things, just so beautiful and amazing and so true when you apply it into real life.
This is facts. So I want to get back to the Unearthlings. What is one of the takeaways that you want the audience members to take from it upon reading the comic book issues?
You know what? It's basically what I talked about, Superman and Forrest Gump and all this stuff and Avengers Endgame. All of that is in there. It's a sci-fi, it's an action thriller. There's some issues that is a little bit of graphic, if you want to call it like that. But it's a very honest, warm, and human story. It's about two friends that they love each other as a friends, and they were looking for this family. They found this family with other aliens, but it's this unconventional team becoming more than just unconventional members. It's an unconventional team becoming a family and fighting for the greater good. Okay,
so we're going to get ready to close out the interview. What are some of the new things that you're working on towards the future?
So I'm working on, The Unearthian is coming out now, July 17. You can find it on, the website, theunearthianscomics.com. You can order online or Comixology. I'm developing another comic that is called Becoming Kaon, or Kaon, K-A-O-N. Is a Latino superhero that I'm writing also a screenplay for it. There's a film I just finished producing it back November. We're in post-production. It's an indie film called Inside the Circle, about a geek like me that loves superheroes and comics, that fall in love with this lawyer girl that she wants to get married and the whole 9 yards, but he doesn't want to. So it's a little romantic comedy that is coming hopefully at the end of the year or next year.
Okay, so for our audience members who want to keep up with you online and on social media, can you let them know where they can find you at?
Yeah, on Instagram at Mora himself, Twitter at Omar Mora Actor. And then I have my company's website, morasproductions.com.
Okay, so is there any last things that you'd like to tell our audience members before we conclude the interview?
No, just, hopefully you guys love The Unearthians as I enjoyed creating it. The art, honestly, the art is first class. The art there's nothing that Marvel or DC we need to envy, because it's a beautiful art created by Latinos artists from Mexico, Edwin Estrada, Mauricio Alvarez. I'm from Puerto Rico, so this is a Latino-produced comic book, and I'm proud of it.
Okay, Omar, I appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us today, and we wish you the best in the future.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. This is another episode of Underground Reggie.